You do not need to be on every single platform to get your first Etsy sales. What you need is a listing that will actually convert and one simple way to send people to it. That is all you need, especially for the first year of your handmade business. Like, I don't want you guys to overcomplicate this because the reality is, like I said, all you literally need is listing, but they need to be set up in the right way, okay? Because there's no point just chucking up listings just for the sake of it and then being like, okay, I'm not getting views, certainly not getting sales, I have no idea what I am doing wrong, okay? Now, one thing that I do want to say on the listing front is that Etsy would have shown historically throughout your listing's lifetime, it would have shown real buyers that listing, okay? It is up to you basically to optimize that listing for people to see it and for people to buy it, okay? But if you are a beginner, which is what this video is all about, all I need you to think of is what is on screen right now. And for audio listeners, I've literally got the listing in the middle. I've got an arrow showing viewers, showing people, showing traffic coming to it. And then obviously that equals sales. Okay. So you want to make sure your listing is getting the right traffic. That is pretty much the entire thing with this. I don't want you to overcomplicate it and be like, I have to be on Pinterest, I have to be on TikTok, I have to be on Instagram. No, all it literally takes is one platform to be one decent traffic source to get you your first sales and to your first £100,000 worth of sales. Sending more traffic to a listing that is a 3 out of 10, a 2 out of 10, a 1 out of 10, basically it's a weak link in your shop, is not going to magically create sales. I get so many people that focus in on, Steph, I need more traffic, more traffic, more traffic. Well, the fact of it is that if you are getting 100 views / visits every single week in your Etsy shop and you're not making sales, it's not the traffic that's the problem. It's in fact your listing. So before we talk about driving traffic, let's first have a little conversation about your listing, okay? So before you post anywhere, before you choose your home hub, which is basically the term that I've coined to call your one social media platform or marketing platform, to be fair, because that can also include email, right? It's the one place where you are going to commit to focus on until you get to 50,000 followers, 50,000 subscribers, whatever works for you, okay? But you need to master that one platform before you move on to the next one. That's how people get overwhelmed. That's how people end up giving up on their business. That's how people just end up being so utterly like spread thin that they end up just going, I'm not going to do it anymore. So before you post anywhere, I want you to check these things, okay? I want you to check your photos. I want you to check your titles and your tags. I want you to check your description. I want you to check your price, and I want you to check your delivery. Now, basically, what we are checking for is we want all of these areas to be at least a 7 out of 10. Meaning, if your description is insanely long, it's got postage information and other gubbins and stuff in there that you don't really need to have, that needs to go, okay? Because not only is your description so important, and description, you know, we talk about sales copy over here. Basically, sales copy is essentially any piece of text that your audience will read that will basically end up them taking an action, in this case, making a sale, okay? So what I want you to focus on is I really need you to check your photos, title, description, price, and delivery before you even start driving traffic. So let's talk about platforms, okay? Like I mentioned before, you want to be choosing your home hub, okay? So let's say you're like, I should be on TikTok. Someone said I should be on Instagram. Someone also said about Facebook. Someone was saying about Pinterest. Someone was saying about Threads. Like, these are a lot of different platforms, right? And there's no good that's going to come of you spreading yourself so thin. Because let's be honest, you're probably going to maybe put 20% of your effort into this one, maybe 10% of your effort into this one, maybe 5% into Facebook, 5% into Instagram, and Threads is probably going to be like a 3%, right? What if we actually combined all of this and we put our 43% effort into one platform. Okay. Now, that one platform has to be two things. It has to be a place that you naturally go to, gravitate towards, use in your everyday life anyway, because then it's easier, you know how to use it. But also, it's where your target audience actually is. It's no good going to a platform that only has the complete opposite of your target market on there. The one thing that I see newbies do all the time is they will just show either a piece of content, pictures, listings, whatever, and they will just show the product. Okay. They'll be like, it's X wide by X high. It has this, like, let's say we're talking about a bottle, right? It has this cap, it has this strap, it does this, it does that. That's a very like utilitarian way of looking at your product. And as we know, people do not buy based on what is going to fit my needs exactly. They buy based off of emotion. And how do we show that? We show it by basically showing the product being useful. We're showing the product in context. So that means don't just put a post up that says new in my shop today, or this is what I've sold this week, or something like that. You want to be showing things that actually represent the product being used in their lives. So things like gift ideas, things like showing how it's made, which, by the way, if you're not doing that every single week, you need to be, because that shows immense value. You want to show who it's for or who it could be for. You want to show before and after. You want to show what other uses that particular product could have. Buyers need context. They do not just want a photo and click the link in bio to buy now, because that is not going to make anybody pay attention to you, and it's not going to make anyone click. So you want to be looking at your product as your target market would look at it. Maybe I could use this for this, and maybe I could use this little cube timer. Maybe I could put it on my desk, and maybe it can help me work. And maybe when I'm in bed at night and I'm writing my journal, I can time myself, or maybe I can use it as an egg timer. Or can you see the point? Like, you don't want to be looking at your product as it is a cube timer, it has different times on it. No, like, because your target market, they are not looking at your product in that same way. All right. You also want to be giving people a clear next step in everything you do in your business, in every content piece, in every single listing. Like, interest is not enough if people do not know exactly what to do next. Okay, you want to make the buying step obvious, direct, and easy. Okay, so you want to tell them exactly where to buy. And like, I'd even go one step further with this. Okay, so let's say you have your Instagram grid. I'm just doing a terrible little picture of an Instagram grid. And let's say you have I don't know, 3 or 4 different products that you've promoted that week. Do not just say, go to my link in bio, and then you go to the link and it's just like a very generic like Etsy shop link to your homepage. No, give them the direct link to the product that you are promoting that week. Okay, don't make people work harder than they already are, because as we know, people are distracted when they are looking at your content, when they are looking at your listing. So don't make it harder than it needs to be. If you're talking about oh, you can add an additional charm, go to my Etsy shop to find the link. No, give them the actual link to that specific product that you're talking about. By the way, if you're not getting sales, whether that's you're getting views, but you're still not getting sales, you're not getting views at all, maybe you're getting a few favorites, you need to grab my free guide here. It is literally called Why Your Etsy Listings Aren't Selling Yet and What to Do About It. It'll help you fix the listing before you start driving traffic to it. Okay, it is completely free. It's a chonker of a freebie. It's very visual. It's got drawings and things in there. It is completely free. I'm going to link this below this, show notes, YouTube description, wherever you are consuming this. Go and grab this ASAP. It's 72 pages. You will not regret it. The next step for you today is to go and watch the video 5 Etsy listing mistakes beginners make, okay? Because you want to be nipping those beginner mistakes in the bud that quietly just stop people from buying. Not in like a loud way, not like people are messaging you saying, hey, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? They just will view it and they just will not buy it. So especially if you're getting views but no sales, you need to go and watch this next video.